So Lana's question is, I've noticed when I'm tired and run down, my vibration dwindles. I can appreciate things and I do, but I still feel more subdued. What else can I do to counter this? Amazing, amazing question. And it's a complex question. The answer is going to go in many different directions. I'm going to try and keep it succinct. So the very first thing I want to say is there are 3 reasons why we feel tired and depleted. One is too much emotion, going up and down the emotional scale. Going up and down the emotional scale many times during the day will deplete you emotionally. You know how when you are having an emotional episode, you're going through something that's emotional, your emotions are all over the place. You're going up and then down. Guess what? That takes a toll. It's far easier to stay on one emotion, even if it is a negative emotion. You will feel less depleted than going up and down the emotional scale. Spending a lot of time in the lower part of the emotional scale will make you feel completely emotionally drained. And when you are emotionally drained, you don't have physical energy and you also don't have mental energy. Okay? So that's the first one. The other reason people can feel drained is overthinking, overusing mental energy. Too much mental energy, building up all types of scenarios. This could happen, and if this happens, then what will happen? And if that happens, then what will happen? And if that happens, then what will happen? And they build hundreds of these scenarios. And then they go over the same scenarios again, wondering if they can tweak one little thing here or there and change the scenario. And that overthinking depletes them of physical and emotional and mental energy. And then they've got nothing. They are depleted. Lastly is physical depletion. You weren't overthinking, you weren't emotionally upset, but you were just doing a lot. You were lifting bricks all day. You were walking all day. And you're just emotionally, you are physically depleted. And when you're physically depleted, your mind cannot work. You don't have the physical stamina, the physical energy required to pay attention to your emotions, to do the work, to go up the emotional scale. So again, you are depleted. So there are 3 ways, 3 things can deplete you. Too much physical activity, too much mental activity, too much emotional activity. All 3 will deplete you. So now let's talk about the solutions. If you are physically depleted, the answer is really easy. Take a nap, go to sleep. Replenish yourself, you will wake up feeling refreshed. Now, and that's what you have to do. So either take a nap or meditate, because if you can meditate for 20 or 30 minutes, it's the equivalent of 3 hours of sleep. So if you think you can take a nap, that is the best. But if you can't go to sleep, take a nap, then just meditate. Okay? Breathe and meditate. You'll feel better. Okay? Now let's take mental overactivity. Too much thinking, overthinking. It's depleting you of your physical energy. So what you have to do is you've got to actually turn your mind off. And you turn your mind off by taking it off the subject. So you've got to get off the subject that is making you spin your wheels in so many different directions. Get off the subject. Call a friend. Engage in a conversation that involves laughter. Okay? Get off the subject, you'll feel better. And again, if you take a nap or you meditate and you come out of your meditation or you wake up from your nap, you have reset yourself completely. It's like starting a whole new day. Okay? So, get off the subject is very powerful. Go appreciate a tree. You've got to put your car in neutral. You've got to let the engine's overheated, basically. So look at it this way. When you're overthinking something, in that scenario, the engine has overheated. You need to bring the car to a stop, which means getting off the subject. Have the gear in neutral, meaning focus on something that has nothing to do with your life. And stay there for long enough to allow the engine to cool down. Or you can just turn the ignition off, go to sleep in the car, wake up and start over. Yes? Easy, right? Yeah, that analogy makes it easy to understand. All right. Third one, you are emotionally depleted because you are on an emotional roller coaster. Going up, that's what an emotional roller coaster is. When you're going up and down the emotional scale, very rapidly, it depletes you of emotional, physical, and mental energy. What is the answer? The same as the previous one about being mentally depleted. Same answer. The reason you're going up and down the emotional scale is because you are overthinking it. So you have to put the car into neutral, allow that negative momentum to subside so that you can go up the emotional scale and see things more clearly. So it's the same thing. Get off the subject that is creating the emotional roller coaster. Get off that subject for long enough to allow momentum to subside and start over. Go to bed. Wake up the next day. It's a new day with new possibilities. Take a nap. Meditate. And that is how you reset yourself vibrationally. You need a vibrational reset. You know how we do the reset for our phones or our computers? What do? We power down. Power down and then start fresh. Sometimes we have to restore to factory settings. In our analogy here, restore to factory setting would mean making your transition to non-physical. We're not going there. But you can reset yourself. You need an emotional reset, a vibrational reset. And the best vibrational reset is just going to sleep. The other things work as well, but going to sleep works the best. Now, you have to turn your mind off before you go to sleep. You have to turn your mind off before you meditate. You have to turn your mind off from thinking about your life. You've actually got to give your mind an instruction that says, okay, enough now. You know how, think about it this way. When your mind is spinning like that, your emotions are going haywire like that, it's like a child who is throwing a tantrum and screaming and shouting. And then you say to the child, okay, enough now, stop it. And that's what you've got to tell yourself. Enough now, stop it. And you just got to shut that thing down. Shut it down. Because it's not helping. So it's like shutting down your computer or your phone, and then you restart, and now things work a lot better, right? So that's, Lena, very, very good question. I think it has applied to all of us at some point in time in our lives. And it applies to a lot of us. So, forcing yourself. So here's the last thing I want to say to you, is that forcing yourself to appreciate something when you're not really able to feel the appreciation in your heart, that's useless. Don't do it. In fact, it is counterproductive. The reason it's counterproductive is because you're not generating a positive vibration by doing it, right? So that's why you say, I can appreciate things, and I do, but I still feel subdued. Well, it's because you're not really feeling the feeling. You're in a place where feeling the feeling is really hard. So breathe, meditate, or take a nap. All right. So who needed to hear that? Was that helpful?